Republican cuts are hurting our most vulnerable country to provide tax cuts for the richest people in the country. Same time, we're pushing a bill through Congress slashes $300 billion from SNAP. SNAP. Food out of the mouths of babies to give billionaires a tax cut. $700 billion from Medicaid. That means $1 trillion, just those two things. Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, which we're supposed to obey, but they have said they're not necessarily going to do that, has said with those cuts, it generates $500 billion in cuts in Medicare. Medicare, 700, Medicaid, 500, SNAP, 300, in meeting the needs of people. And you know what they call it? Waste, fraud, and abuse. It's Robin Hood in reverse. Take from the needy and give to the rich. It's a Republican Robin Hood in reverse. I recall that when what's-his-name was in office before, and the Republicans had the majority for 2 years until we, with your help, defeated them, they had one bill that Republicans only passed. It was their tax bill. And it gave 83% of the benefits to the top 1%. This time, they're going beyond that. They'll probably add closer to $4 trillion to the national debt to give a bigger tax cut to the high end while they cut SNAP, food, taking food from the mouths of babies to give a tax cut to the richest people. The other day when I came back from Washington, I went right to an event on immigration, and we talked about the fact that the Asian American community has been the foremost community for naturalization. Everyone has learned from you because you've had such a leadership. Bill Hung was, everything that we have advanced sprang from the Asian community. So thank you for that important contribution, which of course is greatly at risk right now, and I'll hear from you about that. We take great pride in our vibrant, diverse, very diverse community, as we can see here, the Bay Area has been so enriched by the community, and you know that. We'll hear more about that now. Then I want to just say that, we try to. We're in a situation right now where the Republicans have said, whatever you want to do for your communities, it cannot have anything to do with health, education, the arts, museums, libraries, diversity. I mean, they're just undermining the culture that is America, because the diversity, of course, is our strength. But I was able to get the Southeast Asian Development Center to help purchase a new building with $1 million and $850 for Asian Week Foundation. But what they're doing is such an insult, because the cuts that are in the budget already, and I say already because I'll get to another point, help older Asian American adults learn to use digital technology. They're cutting that. Combat anti-Asian hate. They're cutting that. Advise low-income tenants facing eviction funding, they're cutting that. Here at the JCYC, President Trump's budget cuts $2.6 million in funding, which provides college advising and preparation services for thousands of low-income youth in San Francisco. They're cutting that. Republican cuts are hurting our most vulnerable country to provide tax cuts for the richest people in the country. Same time, we're pushing a bill through Congress slashes $300 billion from SNAP. SNAP. Food out of the mouths of babies to give billionaires a tax cut. $700 billion from Medicaid. That means $1 trillion, just those two things. Now, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, which we're supposed to obey, but they have said they're not necessarily going to do that, has said with those cuts, it generates $500 billion in cuts in Medicare. Medicare, 700, Medicaid, 500, SNAP, 300, in meeting the needs of people. And you know what they call it? Waste, fraud, and abuse. we say back to them, our seniors, our children, they are not waste, fraud, and abuse. Show us where they are. You got a claim? Show us what it is. But we haven't seen that yet. And in any event, it's Robin Hood in reverse. Take from the needy and give to the rich. It's a Republican Robin Hood in reverse. Now, I say that I'll say more about what they're doing on the cuts. This Doge thing, which is a complete fraud, but this Doge thing is said, they announced that they were going to send over a budget to rescind over and above the grotesque reconciliation package that they voted on last week. That's grotesque. Now they're going to have more cuts. So the two women, it's amazing that women are in the lead. Rosa DeLauro is a top Democrat on the Appropriations Committee in the House, and Patty Murray in the Senate, Democrat in Senate. Actually, there's a Republican woman, Senator Collins, on the Senate side, and so it's amazing that women have that much control. But the two Democratic women have sent a letter to them to say, under the law, and this is the law, that's why I said to you downstairs, it's not just that we disagree, they're illegal. Under the law, they must document what their cuts are. We have to see what they are, why, and all the rest of that. And when they say waste, fraud, and abuse, show us. What is it? We don't want any waste, fraud, and abuse, but we don't consider feeding our children waste, fraud, and abuse, or helping our people with disabilities, or our seniors who need long-term health care, the rest of that. We don't consider that waste, fraud, and abuse. If you do, because you want to give tax cuts to billionaires, that's waste, fraud, and abuse, because that's not what our a budget should be. A statement of our values. What is important to us as a nation should be reflected in our budget. For our children, their health, their education, the economic security of their families, safe, clean neighborhoods in which they can thrive, including from gun violence, and a world at peace in which they can thrive. That's not what this budget is about. It's about tax cut for the wealthiest people. Now, you may recall that when what's-his-name was in office before, and the Republicans had the majority for 2 years until we, with your help, defeated them, they had one bill that Republicans only passed. It was their tax bill. And it gave 83% of the benefits to the top 1%. 83% of the benefits to the top 1%, and added $2 trillion to the national debt. Oh, big talk. Oh, we're fiscally responsible. $2 trillion to the national debt. Not creating any jobs or anything, just a tax cut for it. This time, they're going beyond that. They'll probably add closer to $4 trillion to the national debt to give a bigger tax cut to the high end, while they cut SNAP food, taking food from the mouths of babies to give a tax cut to the richest people. So this is about their lack of values. And, you know, I've been in Congress a long time, thanks to all of you, but and we've had our disagreements about policy and the rest, and that's legitimate to have disagreement. But this is criminal. It's not only criminal, it's illegal in terms of what the law requires them to do. So, again, we don't agonize, we organize. And that's what we're going to talk about today. When we won in 2018, what's his name, was saying, Obamacare sucks. I'm just quoting him. He's crude. I mean, that's one of the less crude things he said. But anyway, Obamacare sucks. We said, no, it doesn't. It cures. And so we had 10,000 events around the country where people told their stories. They didn't talk about provisions in the bill. They just talked about, my baby was born with a heart condition. My wife had breast cancer. My mother, heart condition. Whatever it happened to be, and this is how the Affordable Care came to our rescue. We wanted to improve the Affordable Care Act, and in fact, that's what we did when Biden became president, to lift the threshold, or lower the threshold, but lift the amount of people who could participate. But they now want to get rid of all of that. So how we won in 2018 was 10,000 events where people told their stories. And that's, we can only do so much inside maneuvering. The outside mobilization, know your power in all of this. And that's why I want to hear freshly what you have to say, and every day it makes a difference in all of this. So let's have on the record how you see things, and then we'll hear some questions.